Hey friends, this is Maria with Simply Well. Today I just wanted to do a brief video and show you how I make my own structured mineralized water, and this is also how I take my magnesium in the form of magnesium chloride. And a lot of people ask what kind of magnesium to take for migraines, and this is what I do. And so I just wanted to show that process for you because I don't actually buy supplemental magnesium in the form of like magnesium glycinate or citrate or any of the other forms that are just made in a laboratory setting. I take enough supplements as it is, and I feel like anytime I have an option to take a supplement that is produced more naturally by Mother Nature and not made in a lab, I'm going to opt for that. So the magnesium chloride is a really nice option because these magnesium chloride flakes, they're mined from ancient seabeds, and you can easily make what is well known to be magnesium oil. So it's just basically a 50-50 ratio of the actual flakes themselves dissolved in purified water at the same ratio, a 1-to-1 ratio. So you do like a cup of these flakes dissolved in a saucepan in a cup of purified water would then give you this solution. I usually make a big one of these, so a few cups, and I keep this right by my water purifier, and then this is my solution of magnesium, which I can then add to my drinking water along with some salt. So yeah, it's a really nice way to drink water because first of all, you'll notice a difference if you try this. It tastes kind of like milk, and I know it sounds weird to say that because we don't usually associate milk as being something that's super helpful or has a lot of minerals in it, but milk does have a lot of magnesium and sodium in it. And even though this water, is not dairy, it has that quality to it. My husband even mentioned that when he tried it. He said, this tastes really milky. And it's true that when you add the magnesium and the sodium together and you mineralize the water, it has this very kind of creamy flavor to it. So this is going to be a pretty brief video because my kids are on spring break and I don't have a whole lot of time today, but just wanted to kind of give you a quick download on this. I'm not going to get super technical today into the science of structured water, but I want to talk to you about structured water as well. So right here, this is my filter. This is a Berkey filter. And I really like it. My husband did most of the research, so I can't really, tell you if there are other filters better than this, but I really like it. You just manually pour the water on top, and we actually have pretty good water here in Milwaukee, Oregon. We have groundwater, so our city water is pretty good. It's not fluoridated, which is awesome. There is some chlorine in there, and who knows what else. So this filter is great. And once it's poured through and filtered, I just fill up my glass with water, and then I add a teaspoon. Every time I drink a glass of water, I just get a teaspoon of my magnesium oil that I have made here. You could also just use a magnesium oil purchased in a store without making it yourself. And then 1 teaspoon here is 5 milliliters. So there's 100 milligrams of magnesium for every milliliter. So this would be 500 milligrams. So I like to get about anywhere from 800 to 1200 milligrams of magnesium a day. And doesn't have to be super, super exact. From what I've read, 300 milligrams is sort of what your body needs to maintain everyday enzymatic processes. But if you are deficient, then getting more, especially in the first 4 months when you're going to be building up to getting back to a tissue saturation level of magnesium, you would want to take more than that. So I take, like I said, 800 to 1200. And so that would be like if I drink 2 glasses of this water a day, I'd be getting like 1,000 if I'm doing a full teaspoon. I'll admit I'm not super, super exact, but if you put a little bit too much in, it's not going to be bad for you physically, but it just won't taste as good. So there's a sweet spot there. For me, the sweet spot that's just right. It's almost as sweet. It literally is sweet water. The sweet spot is 1 teaspoon, which is 500 milligrams of the magnesium oil concentration, and then I just get a pinch of salt, and then I'd stir it up so that it dissolves well. And I only really need 2 of these a day, but I noticed that when I drink water in other times of the day when I don't actually need to add more magnesium because I've already got all the magnesium I need for the day, the water doesn't taste nearly as good without the magnesium and the salt. So this is just a really nice way. I like it, because it is pretty simple to do, but at the same time, I think that whenever you are more involved and engaged in your health. For example, actively participating in something like mineralizing your water as compared to just popping a pill. Every time that you're more actively engaged, it's an opportunity for being more conscious of like, I am taking magnesium, I'm nourishing my body, and also giving appreciation for the water. And, the water does feel that appreciation. I have no fear of being woo-woo here because I think the science is really fascinating. I don't have the time to go into it today, but the modern water does retain memory, and it's very sensitive. It's an actual crystalline structure. So this is actually scientifically based. If you want to look into structured water online and do some research, but also the work of Victor Schauberger is another great reference if you want to get more into the actual scientific basis for structured water. So structured water is crystalline water, and it's water that has usually gone through some kind of like a vortex motion. Normally this happens just naturally in nature, like as water runs through streams or runs underground through underground aquifers or up into springs. There's these swirling vortexes as they go over rocks and, tumble over. And there's like a liveliness, which would be translated in scientific terms as like an electromagnetic charge. Because as this water is going over these rocks and picking up minerals, the minerals also actually help retain this vitality. And so people sometimes get regular tap water and try to bring vitality back to it by adding minerals and swirling it around in different directions, or there's different devices that you can use that you can put on your faucet that sort of mimics this emotion that water would normally have in a vital natural environment, such as running through a stream or running through an aquifer. And thereby, when you take in more vital water, you're feeding all of your cells better. It's more hydrophilic, so it's more nourishing and hydrating to all of your cells. And so there are simple ways that you can, super simple ways you can make structured water, which is kind of like a whole topic unto itself, but like this wouldn't be structured. So, when the water comes just straight through these straight pipes, that's not really a very natural motion for water to come through. So like you can, for example, you could pour your purified water into a pitcher, and the way some people structure water is they put the mineral salts in, and then they stir it for like 3 minutes in one direction and 3 minutes in the opposite direction. So there's centripetal forces and centrifugal forces. So these are just sort of like, they're vacuum forces. So you're basically trying to get a balanced polarity and polar charge in your water. You can also just look that up on YouTube. There are, really simple ways to make your water structured, but having the minerals present in there is really, really valuable. And then some people say that you should let your water sit like overnight for a 24-hour period. But regardless of whether you're interested in the structured water part or do any of that to make it structured, just simply mineralizing your water you'll notice the difference in the taste of the water. So I just think that's a really nice way to get some support from Mother Nature in the form of her minerals without relying on supplements that are made in labs. Because like, for example, the magnesium glycinate, which is generally really well tolerated by a lot of people, and which I'm in favor of in terms of, rather than citrate or oxalate or the different forms there are, magnesium glycinate is great because it has glycine in it, and glycine is a really amazing essential amino acid. It's the smallest amino acid, and it's very versatile for that reason. And a lot of people are low in glycine because there's a lot of glyphosate in the environment and the food supply. So the glyphosate from Roundup shares the same receptor site as glycine, and if you do have glyphosate in your bloodstream, which it's been shown people do have, even people who don't want it there, it's ubiquitous in the environment. So there's this glyphosate is interfering with our metabolism and synthesis of glycine, which is needed for a lot of things like neurotransmitters. So I like glycine as the supplement personally, but some of the brands of magnesium glycinate that are out there don't actually have really all that much glycine in them. So it is a valuable form of magnesium, but sometimes there's some citric acid in there. And some people don't tolerate the citric acid that well, especially people who have like fungal issues, because it is made by a mold, citric acid is, in the lab. So if you want to bypass all of that and you just want to go with something that's much more natural, You know, I like the Ancient Minerals brand. This brand I got at the health food store. It's Life Flow, and it's from the same seabeds as the Ancient Minerals brand. It's the Zechstein seabeds, which I believe is in the Netherlands. So, you know, there's always a question of purity, whether you're getting it from a lab or whether you're, you know, getting it straight from the earth. And, you know, in the day and age we live in, it's kind of hard to know, you know, just how pure something is. But these people are saying it's pure, even though they do say, you know, don't take it internally. I take it internally. So I can't give you medical advice here because I'm not a doctor, but this is what I do, and I wanted you to know what it is that I do, and this is how I like to take my magnesium. So it's so delicious. So like the ionic magnesium that you can get in the health food store, I forget the brand. I think it's just made from magnesium salts found like in mines in Utah, ancient seabeds also. That's like in a more liquid form that they offer and suggest taking internally and adding to water. So that's an example of one way that other people tend to get magnesium and also sodium and other trace elements internally rather than rubbing it onto the skin. Because personally, I really think that the magnesium oil, even though transdermal is a good way to get it as far as absorption goes, it's just itchy and kind of uncomfortable. So I've found that that's not really sustainable for me to try to do the magnesium oil topically on the skin. So anyway, yeah, if you're interested in trying magnesium chloride, this is a good way to get it. Hope you're having a fabulous day, and thank you for watching.